Sign up to Rough Trade Club, the ultimate subscription for vinyl enthusiasts. Get money off online and in-store and access to sold-out events and discounts at Rough Trade East, Rough Trade West, Bristol, Liverpool and all over the UK. Join Rough Trade Club plus new music to receive an exclusive variant of their album of the month every month. Head to roughtrade.com/club and when you use the voucher code CLUB101POD, you'll get a third off your first 3 months. That's at roughtrade.com/club and you can get a third off your first 3 months by using the voucher code CLUB101POD. Do you play in bands? I did for the longest time. And I wish that I knew that DistroKid was a thing. I don't even think it existed back then. DistroKid makes music distribution fun and easy with unlimited uploads, and artists keep 100% of your royalties and earnings. 1 million plus artists rely on DistroKid to get their music on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, TikTok, Tidal, Instagram, and all the major streaming services. When you get DistroKid, you can see a DistroKid bank and withdraw your earnings. You get notified when you've earned royalties and you can withdraw via the app. And you can even check your streaming stats on Spotify and Apple. Get 30% off your first year on DistroKid by going to distrokid.com/VIP/101pod. 30% off for your first year. That's not bad. We know it's a tough world out there. Why don't you make it easier for yourself? And to get 30% off that free year as an artist, where you get 100% of your royalties and earnings, go to distrokid.com/VIP/101pod. All right, stay with me. I'll be right back after this.
Before history is written, it's played. Before it's frozen in time, it's fought one shift at a time. Before it's etched in silver, it's carved in ice. What happens next will last forever.
The Stanley Cup Final continues. Oilers, Panthers on ABC and ESPN+.
This Friday, your favorite emotions are back on the big screen in Disney and Pixar's Inside Out 2.
It's time to greet your team, Riley! It's anger!
Let me at him!
Fear!
Safety checklist is complete!
Disgust! Ew, ew! Sadness is in the house! Oh, no.
Hello, I'm anxiety. I'm one of Riley's new emotions.
Disney and Pixar's Inside Out 2.
There's a part 2?
We're going!
Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. Only in theaters Friday. Get tickets now.
All right, you're listening to 101 Part-Time Jobs with me, Giles Bidder. It's where I speak to all different kinds of bands and artists about what it's like being a musician today. It's probably the hardest it's ever been to be an independent musician. And all these people have lives and lifestyles that we rarely hear about or talk about. So that's what I'm here to do. And on this episode, I speak to Red Rum Club. I was at Liverpool the other week for Liverpool Sound City. Had a great time seeing all these new bands, all these new fantastic artists. And I did a talk on stage with Red Rum Club. This is that chat recorded. Red Rum Club are a special band from the Liverpool area. Their new record, Western Approaches, is just something else. It's got energy. They work so hard. They're so talented and got a real ear for a tune. They've just come off a massive tour in the States. And if you're in the UK, you can catch them at all kinds of sort of festival all-dayer types this summer. 30th of June, they're in London supporting Kings of Leon and Paolo Nutini. The Vaccines are also playing that. That's at Hyde Park. And on the 12th of July, they're with Jamie Webster, a fellow Liverpool legend, at Liverpool Sefton Park. That's going to be huge on Friday, the 12th of July. And they're also playing alongside Richard Ashcroft in Wigan. So plenty of opportunities to see Red Rum Club in the UK this year. Head to their website, redrumclub.com/tour to get those tickets. and give another listen to their top 10 album, Western Approaches. Shout out to our sponsors, 2000 Trees, the brilliant independent festival down in Cheltenham, down in the southwest. They always put on a stacked lineup, and this July it's no different. The Gaslight Anthem, The Chats and Don Broco are headlining. Manchester Orchestra, Bob Vylan, Creeper, Hot Mulligan, so many fantastic bands and artists at 2000 Trees this year. If you want to head down there and have a weekend camping at an awesome independent festival, head to 2000trees.co.uk, and if you use the voucher code 101pod, you can get 50 quid straight off your weekend ticket. So here's Red Rum Club just months after headlining a huge hometown arena show in Liverpool. This is live from Sound City. As such, with these live chats, sometimes there are a couple of microphone glitches and all that. There's just a couple of minutes, about 3/4 of the way through, where it does a bit of that. But we wanted to keep in the section because it's a really important part of the conversation. So bear with and hope you enjoy. Cheers. 101 part-time jobs. What was like sort of your first memory of being like, and it could be a gig, it could be like releasing a song, or it could be someone that you know being like, oh, do you know what, you're a pretty good band actually. What was the first time that you felt like you had a push from someone outside the band?
It was probably when we met George, our manager, who's at the back there. It was probably the first person from like externally who was like, "You're good, you know." We were all right. Like we didn't, and you know, George was very experienced in music and in the and obviously your mum tells you you're amazing.
Yeah.
But
you can't trust that.
But your mum lies. You know what I mean? It's just, my mum does you.
Yeah, my dad always said that was crap. That.
It's crap. Yeah.
I didn't have that.
But George was the guy who was like, yeah, and then Carl Hunter from the farm, who George brought along, and they were like, yeah, he's got something here.
And what did that make you feel? Because music's something that's like, it comes from a vulnerable place a lot of the time. The best art comes from a vulnerable place. So then to like share it, and then to get kind of validation, there's a mixture of emotions there.
We're still feeling that now. Being able to be like sort of really open about things, not just doing this, but also like in the songwriting process and stuff. As soon as you sort of put yourself on stage and, you know, put yourself out for judgment of other people, it's really nerve-wracking at times, and I think it's sometimes overlooked by people who don't do it. The fact that, like, you know, you can very easily, especially now with X and all that, you can very easily give your opinion on what someone else is doing and be a critic. But it's really hard to sort of put yourself out there and go, well, this is what I am, and this is what I think, and this is what I feel.
As time's gone on, we have got more confidence. Like with that last album, like we knew that was good. As cocky as that sounds.
Well, you've got to back yourself before anyone else is gonna.
Yeah, well, like especially as you said before, from the clubs to arenas, you kind of start to go, maybe people do actually like it.
Is it? I often wonder if like being a musician, being an artist, is a bit like being an athlete, in that there's so much training that we'll never see as a fan. And there's a lot of discipline, and there's a lot, you know, you give yourself the discipline. You might have a team around you, but ultimately it's up to you.
Yeah, it's being really efficient in what you do, and really sort of honest with yourself of what actually works and what actually doesn't work. I remember, it's funny because I only had this conversation yesterday with someone about like the rock star lifestyle or whatever and blah, blah, and I remember when I was like 18, 19, 20, 21, we were still in a band messing about and whatever, and I remember coming to pubs and clubs on this road and like having like bands such as like the Coral and all these bands who were kicking off, Circaways, whatever, and I was like, you never see them in here. Yeah. You never see them out and about living the rockstar lifestyle. I was like, because no, it's not about that. It's about being really efficient and being like, actually, the same way you're training as an athlete, you need to go home, go and be on the track, or you need to go to the gym or whatever else. Being a musician is about getting in the studio, writing songs, being good live, and then going and doing it, you know, on the pitch or on the stage. Like that, it is that thing of like, you be really, it's not about everything else. You boil it down to write good songs, be good live, be sound with people, and it becomes something. You start to see progress. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is that why I never see any U5 out in the?
You haven't learned that yet. You're still coming to places like this.
You know, I'm laughing because my cousin told me yesterday, he said his band played in Sunderland the night after you did a couple of years ago. And after sound check, the guy working behind the bar said, you know what, you're not as good as the band from last night. Let's get them back. And it was you.
Wow.
I can't remember playing in Sunderland, can you?
You know, you can't remember much.
No, I'm
But what I thought is,
we've never been in Sunderland before.
is it when you're so tight and you're undeniably good, that takes how many hours? Is it the 10,000 hour rule?
Yeah, that's what it is, and it's very easy to get lost in sort of like the add-ons to the music industry. Obviously, you walk around Sound City and it's amazing to see and seeing today the conference, and you see so many people who are amazing at what they do, but it's the nitty-gritty, like you say. It's the training, it's being really disciplined with yourself. But like, those people on that stage are really, really good because they're not doing the things that you think they're doing. They're doing the really effective, efficient things of to get in, to be good, to write songs. And
did that come naturally to you? Because that's quite like
nope.
because when you start a band, you know, it's a social thing.
That is,
as much as it is a.
As I've used so many times, when we started off, it was like go out, go to bars, try and flirt with women, and then slowly that kind of goes away, and it does become more serious. You got to go in and practice to be good.
Is that because you realised you cared more about the music than going out ultimately?
Yeah, that was it. It was a case of a little bit of a sort of.
We started taking it more serious, and
yeah,
we wanted to be a band.
We got a bit of confidence in ourselves and ambition, didn't we? Like it was like we started the band to be able to play pubs, be on stage, beat your chest, be the guy for half an hour, and then maybe impress the girl that you're talking to, and then get a few free drinks and go out with your mates. That gets boring very quickly, and then when that's done, the quicker you can get that done, that's great. You can still do that stuff, but the quicker that you realise that actually it's about just writing songs. I want to talk, you know, the girl that you're talking to and you're no longer talking to, it's probably good to write a song about that and it'll make your experience better, you know what I mean? Make your band better.
You started in 2016, first album came out in 2019. I mean, 3 years, that's quite a short time for a debut record, and then since then, there's been a steady flow of them, a steady flow of albums.
Yeah.
Can you kind of pinpoint a moment during that? You know, was it before the first album or after the first album that you thought, all right, this is it. We're in them. We want to make this a self-sufficient machine. You know, we want to make this our jobs.
Probably very recently, wasn't it?
We said recently about to strike on while the iron's hot. Like at the start, no one really bothered to. Even now, quite a lot of people aren't bothered. So we're just trying to keep on pushing and pushing. Like at the minute, we're writing again, aren't we? Well, we're going to start writing again for future releases. But at the start, like you had loads of time.
Yeah.
That's why it was them 3 years it was there.
Yeah.
Still not, like we were always in a rush. We still are in a rush of like we need to do the next thing. Like the album's only just our latest album's only 8 weeks old, and we're already like, what's the next one? Because people forgot. No one's listening anymore. Like you've got to keep going like that. So the moment you think, oh, it's done now, the penny's dropped and we're all right, it's probably the moment you get complacent. And
you mentioned the new record, Western Approaches. Peaked at number 8 in the UK charts, which is wild. Is that not? That is absolutely phenomenal for a band from around here, from Bootle, who have put your best foot forward and put your own ideas forward. Come up with this sound and a kind of imagery that's unlike anything that's in the trends right now. Ultimately, I mean, we can be honest about that. A kind of Tarantino style trumpet player. You know, even the name is a kind of like a nice smart kind of party kind of vibe. You're building your own world. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, we've only just sort of realised that, and it's Red Rum Club. We thought Red Rum, like that was the cool word because it was cool, it was murder backwards and whatever, and we put club on the end in order to make it a club, in order to make it a world,
inclusive.
Make it be like inclusive to anyone. Like it doesn't matter who you are and what you are. If you want to come to a gig and listen to our stuff, then you're in. Like you be accepted and whatever else. And then it's sort of, that would just be like in rooms like this, like come in, be part of the club, come into the club to be part of our club sort of thing. But now it's got to a point where we are sort of taking that further into like an artistic direction of being like let's make our own world. Let's make like Western Approaches. As the tower on the front of the thing was like almost like a Tracy Island sort of ode to like the nautical history of Liverpool. It's a radar station and stuff. So like just being able to like use our music to sort of create this thing, and if people want to go exploring and say, well, why did they go to that tower, they can go delving, and we can use things like this to explain the reasons behind our world that we've created.
A lot of history in that imagery, because those kind of like bunkers, it makes you think of World War II. It really isn't that long ago. You know, there's a lot going on right now. I mean, in history, there's always going to be stories. You know, when I think of those times, I think of the families affected, and you think of relationships, and you think of the parties as well.
Yeah. Well, that's the How to Steal the World was the album before, and that was written the back end of COVID. And that was our way. We were like sat at home waiting for the world to open up, and we tried to create something, an album, a piece of art that would mean we could steal our world. We could go out there and steal the world and create this world that we want to. We go to America and have a fan base and have a UK fan base and create our world, the world where Red Drum Club is a band and it's a thing and people get involved. Then then we spent 2 years up and down the country and going across to America and some stuff in Europe and stuff like that. And every time we went away, we come back and sort of were like, Liverpool's all right, and like the history of it, and we like the people, like you say, the people sort of, it resonated even more. It's one of those things of when like you don't know what you've got until you've gone. When you're away and then you come back, you go, oh, I've missed this. So then Western Approaches was that, the story of the people and the things and the history of the city. And
that plays into what you're talking about, building, you know, inviting people to your world, because history is something we all share, stories is something we all share, going from arts cafes where there's 15, 20 people to arenas. And that can be built naturally. You know, every gig you play, more and more people come. They tell their friends about it. They know it's going to be a party when you're in town. They've got the records to play on the bus on the way to school, on the way to work, and then, you know, live vicariously through you. Yeah. I mean, that's something that's how you is. I mean, the question is that how you want to build Red Rum Club?
I mean, that's how it was, really. We were saying before about. A few years ago in Newcastle, we played a gig in a snooker hall that our manager George over there somewhere booked us for. And I'm pretty sure there was a snooker tournament on in the same room. And I'm pretty sure no one told each other that there was a show on the tournament on. And George drove us, and he was like 25% of the audience. Out of about the snooker audience. And then we played at Newcastle University to 1,200 people. So it's been a slow rise, but it's been a very good rise at the same time.
That's the only way you can do it. You know, it's real. If you're able to just be in front of people and win 20 people over, and 20 becomes 30 and 40 and 50 and 100 and then hopefully to the thousands. It takes a long time, but it's very, very real and visceral. It's very like the music industry at the moment is very much online and looking for the next viral hit and the next streaming hit. But really, the online things, the online social medias and streaming platforms, they're not judging the feeling of the human being. They're not judging what is real. They're judging what keeps the attention of a person for 5 seconds, and that's it. That's the difference of like, it's not music. It is music, but it's not in the music industry, if you know what I mean. So we've done it the old-fashioned way of like just getting in front of people and going, "This is what we feel like. We'll try and make you feel the same way."
Right. Have you felt like at odds with that? Has that gotten your way? I mean, you know, talking about like the serious, like the reality of being an artist, it's all good. It's like, yeah, we're going to be people. We're going to make something that is invitational. We're doing our own thing. But streaming is always going to be the kind of majority, the major link between bands and fans. So do you think of it as kind of like playing the game when you need to, or doing as much as you need to get streaming platforms and DSPs on your side?
Yeah, you do. You do play the game. You've got to be really sort of clever about what you're doing and how you sort of putting yourself out there. But you can't get too hung up on it. You've got to manage the manageables. You've got to just be as good as you can as a band. Write the best songs, put them out there, and if you can somehow get it in with a streaming website or a social media, or do something that fits your thing. You know, we're not going to go and do TikTok dances. Like, we're just not. You know what I mean? We're all pushing 30, and only one of us can dance. So like if that doesn't feel real, we're not going to do that. So, but if something comes along where it's like it fits our brand, then we'll jump on the wagon and see what goes on. But until then, we only know the old-fashioned way of turning up and drinking the bar dry and playing tunes. Yeah.
It's the old school way. I mean, there's so many things you can do as an artist now. There's so many types of videos you can do, so many types of content. Will you kind of split your time speaking amongst yourselves and with the manager kind of between writing the music but also the imagery of it and how you're going to connect with people on an aesthetic point of view?
Yeah, we split our time when we get together in the studio between the music, songwriting or rehearsing, and doing social media content or coming up with social media content, because it is social media content, but
it's a dirty word. Well, it used to be a dirty word. I feel like now it's
content,
yeah, but it's becoming more that it's part of everyone's life.
Yeah, but it's like if I said music video, like mini music video, then people would be like, oh yeah, that's the thing. Like it would be less poisonous, it would be less like sort of frowned upon, but it is a way of marketing yourself. It's a way of getting across your art, and it takes a lot more for. You used to be able to just turn up and play, and then some guy who's good like he's a film director or whatever, could like put it to your visual, could sync your music to a visual thing. Yeah. Now the band's got to do it. Like you've got to do it, and it's another creative avenue that you go down. I think everyone, if you're an artist, should embrace it. You should go like, okay, we've been creative with the audio thing. Let's put our audio to a visual. Let's not wait for Tarantino to come and pick a song and put it on his thing. We've got to do it ourselves. You know what I mean? Have
you got specific films? I mean, Tarantino, but have you got specific films or maybe even TV shows? A soundtrack can be really powerful. You know.
That would be any Tarantino film.
Any Tarantino film, yeah. Well, the last album was. I've already mentioned it, like Thunderbirds and Stingray. Mm-hmm. It was like a 60s thing, and that come from like a nautical theme we wanted to talk about, because we just moved to a new studio in the docks. So when we got in with the producer and told him got this new studio where there's all the container ships come in, and blah blah blah, and
great imagery. Yeah,
it was all, and then it was like, okay, let's make our own world. Let's make a Western Approaches studio, and it's like a little bit like where the Thunderbirds or with Stingray. So like. That was the sort of artistic view of that sort of thing.
Even having an HQ, you know, the studio where you can hang out and write and come up with ideas, how much has that changed the band?
We're a lot more free now. Thank you. We're a lot more free with our time now. Like we don't have to worry about sharing a room with anyone. It's our base.
Yeah.
We can go
there.
Before
you'd be doing like shares of a lockup.
Yeah, we used to be in the bulk studios. Over the years with different bands, but this is just our big room. Mm-hmm. We can go. We have meetings in there. We do content. It's a big our room. It's just ours. It's great, to be fair.
I mean, a lot of what gets in is like a big question mark, even for artists who are like selling out tours, and artists like you who are like top of their game. Finances is always going to be a big question, right? I mean, we all know money. Music isn't like a huge money maker for most people. Mm-hmm. Is that something that you've had to learn about and educate yourself and kind of try and ultimately be smart about? Because you want to sustain your career.
We're still learning about that one, aren't we?
Yeah,
we still make a lot of mistakes with that.
Yeah, you've got to be a band and be creative, but then you're also business owners. You've got to like sort of look after the pennies and make sure everything you do is really efficient and effective. You've got to reinvest your money. If you do make some money, you've got to reinvest it and say, okay, we can all go on, I don't know, buy some new clothes and a new leather jacket or whatever, but really probably should save that for the next time we need to go to London and hire a bus or whatever, like that sort of. And it's quite funny that's probably causes the most tension between the band and whatever, especially for, not tension, but like we sit and talk about that for hours rather than the chorus of a song.
It stops us being able to just go in every day and do that, because we all need to earn a living as well. Like,
I think this kind of
advantage of the money that comes in too quickly.
When fans know about that, this kind of accountability or transparency, I think that's really inspiring, even though it can be kind of an awkward subject, right, talking about money. But knowing a fan, when a fan comes to a show and buys a ticket and buys a T-shirt, they know they're putting their money towards something good that they enjoy to make the world a better place.
Yeah, and you don't want to sort of get the violin out.
Yeah.
And be like, well, this and that, well, I'm about to. No,
it's a fine line.
That was a case of like, we went down last Saturday, we got invited to Radio X to do an interview with John Kennedy's, with legends and whatever. We knew that was beneficial for the band. We knew that it was like, it looked great for us and from the fans that follow us, that we got down there, went to London and went to Leicester Square and spoke to John Kennedy, the legends. And then getting new fans when the stuff was when the interview was aired. Well, for us to go down there, it cost over £1,000. It cost over £1,000 for us to do that interview. They weren't going to cover it, blah blah. We had to get trains. 3 of us had to get trained down there, hotel room because it was a late night interview, and blah blah blah. And you've got to meet when you're down there, all that. And that's a moment. It's not like, yeah, let's just go and do it. We had to sit down and bring it up in a meeting and say, right, the trains cost this much and this much and this much and this is this and this and it's going to cost us about £1,000 to go down and do an interview. Is it worth it? And we had to sit and debate that thing. And I was like, well, we might gain new fans with the interview. It'd be good to meet John Kennedy. He's a legend. His contact book is massive. And we need to pay our social media guy to come with us because for our fans, existing fans, they like to see the journey. So it'd be beneficial. It'll keep us new, fresh content that probably we've never done before. Let's do it. So reinvest it. Now, we could have all just took a couple £100 there and just, had a night out or bought a new leather jacket. Yeah, I need a new leather jacket. But it's that sort of, you don't want to say that on social media, you don't want to say that on stage, you got no right to do it, but forums like this give you the chance to explain, this is what actually is running a band is like.
For real. And looking to arenas, and the kind of production that goes into arenas, and even lights have, they're a huge thing, something so obvious that you don't even think much about, and it really kind of makes or breaks a show of that stage, of that kind of size of the stage. Fireworks, backdrops, kabuki drops, you could...
I wanted the fire.
You wanted pyro, didn't you? You wanted to go you want to make a WWE show.
Yeah, like Kevin Hart.
That would make a great show, but then it's like the cost benefit. Again, it's a similar kind of thing.
If you want fire, you got to have a paramedic there the whole time, so that got vetoed. That one.
Yeah, I got a phone call 2 weeks before the arena, and it was the production manager. He said, Fran, have you got £600 out of the budget? I said, what do you need £600 for? He said, we need another forklift. I said, another forklift? I said, how many have you got? He said, 2. I said, you need a third forklift? And he's like, yeah, to get things on and off fast. And I was like, I said, and you're getting it in? Let me see if I can get, I know a few lads who, let me see if I can get, no, they've got it there already. You just charge £600 for them to give you the key. That is the sort of stuff that you sort of, you don't want to say that. You don't want to explain yourself because you're getting the violin out again, but that's the stuff you're thinking about.
And here's the place to talk about it. I mean, I love it. I love knowing that the singer is getting a text being like, should we get the third forklift?
Yeah. I'll drive it if it's cheaper.
Because those old days, we grew up on those documentaries, those books, those films, those kind of MTV2, VH1 documentaries about stars, right, and how they kind of just write the music, and that's it. That's not the world we live in today.
It's gone, yeah.
And actually, rather than that being a sad thing or a bummer thing or whatever, let's talk about it. How do you make that? How do you turn that on its head and be like, okay, well, if we control it, then how do we make this fun for us? I just think that's kind of one small example of how the kind of artist-audience relationship can be built to something really strong.
And as much as social media is sometimes a bit of a taboo subject when it comes to being an artist and being quite cool and whatever else, you've got to use that platform and you've got to use the people who follow you on there to sort of get them involved in the decision making process. As far as it's what do you want to see on the set list in the next show, it could also be extended to really getting them involved in okay, what would you like to hear us on radio? I don't know what it is, but it goes back to the club word, the community, the world work of it's not just us it's not just 6 of us in Red Rum Club. It's an extended family and an extended family and then an extended family, and everyone can be sort of. We'll decide how the music goes and things like that. But as far as everything else, it could become sound like a cult leader now, don't I? It sounds a bit like Manson again.
What TikTok dances do you want us to do?
No, TikTok dances, yeah.
But that is what I see that as a way to pave yourself a sustainable future, and ultimately that's what we're trying to do here. In a sentence, make good music, be able to survive, keep that community running.
Yeah, that is it. And doing it that way takes a long time.
Where do you want to be in 10 years from now? What's a few bucket list things that you'd love to do?
I mean, a proper Europe tour for me. I want to travel all of Italy so I can get paid to do it. That's a great one.
Good pizza.
I think we come off the stage in the arena when and we all looked at each other, all 6 of us in the band. We come back and it was mayhem and people around us, lots of people backstage and all that. We just got in there and it was really quiet. And we all just looked at each other and the moment was yeah, everyone happy? In control? Everyone goes to plan? Okay, great. And then we were let's go have a drink. We were so comfortable. We never felt out of place or anything. We were yeah, we're an arena band now. And I think that moment we were all okay, let's make let's make it so Red Uncle plays 10 arenas in the UK in the next however many years, and if we can take it across the pond or we can take it to Europe, great. But it is that, just keep the ball rolling, and we've shown we can do it there, so let's go on.
And having the studio, having the home base, being a solid unit, and it takes years to get to that point. Without all those years, you wouldn't be in such a position.
No, not at all.
No, you'd make mistake after mistake after mistake. That's what's really exciting about going. We fly to America on Tuesday, and it's really exciting. We sold like 250 tickets in New York, and but only in Salt Lake City, 27 tickets in Salt Lake City. But we're really enthused by it because, like, that 27, our knowledge of the, our experience of what we did right and wrong in the UK, that 27 will become 300 a lot quicker than it will, or it did in the UK. So we still very much got our bit between.
The States is massive. A lot of bands will play to a sold out 3,000 in New York and do 50 tickets in Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake City is a strange place, strange place.
What advice would you give to the 16-year-old who's maybe going to college to study music or music tech and is starting a band and is serious about it, but also has a lot of creativity in them? What advice would you give them?
I mean, we've been in quite a few bands in our time, really. I mean,
you were all in bands before Red Rock Club?
Yeah, and like, just enjoy it. And then like when you're ready to start taking taking it seriously, then start taking it. Like, don't, like 16 is such a young age. I mean, I wouldn't take yourself too seriously. Then try and enjoy the time. And then when you go, yeah, come on, we're writing good songs here. I think you know yourself when the time's ready.
Write good songs. Be brutal with yourself and work hard. Like, be really sort of not brutal with yourself so you hate yourself.
What I've just said.
No, but I mean, like, when it gets to it, when you're writing songs, be like, is this the best version of me?
So there was Red Rum Club here on 101 Part-Time Jobs, recorded at Liverpool Sound City. Thank you so much to Jade and all the crew at Green Frog Productions for making that happen, and Virgin Music Group for having us and organising that chat. Had a great time there, found out some amazing new bands that I've been constantly listening to. Frownline are one of those bands. Jamie Webster, always a classic. Brooke Combe, and I did interviews there, so you can go back to my episodes from Liverpool Sound City with lottery winners Brooke Combe, Jamie Webster, and loads more. Head back, that's just a few episodes earlier. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe to the show. We put out 2 episodes every week, come rain or shine. We'd love to have you along. Cheers! Shout out to our sponsor DistroKid. If you play in a band or if you're an artist and you're looking to release your own records, you can through DistroKid. Get 30% off your first year by heading to distrokid.com/VIP/101pod. 30% off your first year and join 1 million other artists putting out their own records, taking their future in their own hands, and having fun with it. That's at distrokid.com.
101 Part-Time Jobs is hosted by Giles Bidder and produced by me, Olivia Swash. This has been a Mighty Moon Media production.
We are audiostack.ai.
Combining AI writing, the best synthetic voices,
with production and delivery.
Be it ads, podcasts, or VOs for video.
Just like this ad. How would you utilize AI audio? For free.
Go to audiostack.ai/contest.
Give us just a few details.
And you could replace this spot and be heard by millions.
See webpage for T's and C's. audiostack.ai/contest.
Hey, are you a superfan of Taylor Swift, Jelly Roll, or Morgan Wallen? Are you that song nerd who likes to dive into every little lyric of every little song and figure out what everything means? Do you want to take that a bit further, though? Because I have a podcast called Songwriter Soup, and it dives into the journey of a songwriter and how those people help craft the soundtrack of your life. I'm Laura Veltz, and I'm bringing all of my friends together to discuss our funny little job writing for all of your favorite artists. Listen to Songwriter Soup wherever you get your podcasts.